Hello everyone, my name is Marjorie Olavides. I am a project specialist for the Outreach and Technical Assistance Network, or OTAN, and I'd like to welcome you all for joining us today for this month's OTAN Tech Talk. Our guest speaker is Barry Bakeen from LAUSD, the Division of Adult and Career Education. His topic today is Quizlet for 24/7 practice and in-class formative assessment. All right, let's get started. Take it away, Barry.
Okay, thank you. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk about one of the really practical technology tools of the last few years, Quizlet. Quizlet takes a very old educational methodology, flashcards, and turns it into an enhanced 24/7 study option using technology that almost all students have access to, their smartphones. In the classroom, instructors can get real-time data about what their students know or are having struggles with. As an added benefit, many of the classroom-based activities are simply loads of fun and engaging, and instructors who use them report that students are incredibly enthusiastic and focused when they do them. A few words about myself. I have been using technology since I started classroom teaching more than 30 years ago, going back to overhead projectors and LCD panels that sat on top of them. We've certainly come a long way, with almost all students having internet access and high-powered computers in their pockets. I am now what the Division of Adult and Career Education of the Los Angeles Unified School District calls an Instructional Technology Teacher Advisor, or ITTA. These are out-of-the-classroom positions at each of our adult schools. ITTAs focus on promoting the integration of technology into instruction, as opposed to the technical implementation. I work with teachers and directly with students to demonstrate educational software and teaching techniques in all of the program areas: ESL, academic, and career and technical education. I am also very proud to have been associated with OTAN for many years and still present OTAN online workshops and face-to-face workshops at technology and distance learning symposiums. But enough about me. Let's get back to Quizlet. Quizlet is an educational tool that has utility in all disciplines, but it's especially useful in situations where students need to memorize facts or information, or identify parts of complex organisms or components of different mechanical devices. For ESL, that might be the past tense of verbs or vocabulary words. For an electrician fundamentals class, the names of needed tools and parts. And for an EL civics class, suggested responses to a situation in order to pass the assessment. For an anatomy class, it might be parts of the body or of an organ system. Like many online tools, Quizlet has a free option and pay versions. In particular, there is a version called Quizlet Teacher, which you may want to consider. Quizlet Teacher allows you to track student progress, record your own voice for the flashcards, and of course remove ads. Personally, I think it's worth the $36 a year cost, but it's totally optional. You can do quite a lot and provide an excellent study tool for your students with the basic free version. Quizlet has a computer-based website and a smartphone app. I like to create content using the desktop, primarily because using a full-size keyboard and screen is so much more comfortable. But you can also create study sets using the app on your phone. Also, the desktop version allows for more versatility and activities using the study sets than the app does. There are 8 activities available when using a computer, but only 5 ways to utilize the flashcards when you are studying on a phone. Let's take a look at the activities. The first activity available for a set of flashcards is Learn. The Learn activity starts out as a multiple choice activity. The student sees the one side of the card and selects the correct definition. After several multiple choice questions, the activity switches and the student has to type the correct answer. This part of the activity may not be appropriate for all card sets. For example, card sets with very long definitions that would be difficult to type. But for short answers, it gets the student thinking about the phrases and spelling words correctly. If the student doesn't get the answer completely correct, the program shows the missing or incorrect letters or words. The cards and questions keep cycling until the student answers correctly. A scorecard appears to provide encouragement and show the student how they're doing. The student continues, until every card is mastered, and they get a little congratulations. The next activity, flashcards, is the activity that my students use the most. It's the easiest one for students to practice on their own. Once you have created a set of flashcards, students can use their phones to study them at any time. And just like the paper flashcards of old, they really do help students memorize information through the simple process of repetition. The flashcard sets can be accessed from either a classroom or home desktop or laptop or any mobile device. Audio of any text on the card is computer generated. Upgrading to the pay version allows the flashcard creator to record the text using their own voice. This solves any issues that computer-generated audio can still present. You can tailor the speed of the pronunciation and emphasize certain sounds or points of stress and inflection when you record the audio yourself. Students have the choice of reviewing the cards in order or at random. They can also decide which side of the card they want to view first. In our example of irregular past tense verbs, the student can decide whether they want to view the basic present tense form first and produce the past tense form, or view the past tense form first and produce the basic form of the verb. A student can star specific cards for further review if they want more practice on specific items. So, being flashcards that can be accessed from a student's phone, Quizlet works very well for independent study. When projected using an LCD projector for the class, Quizlet also serves as a dependable formative assessment, giving the teacher a fairly good idea of how much of the presented material the majority of students understand and what needs to be reviewed. If most students are shouting out the correct answer, the teacher can probably move on. But if particular cards are repeatedly generating wrong answers, that particular topic may need review. Another activity that I encourage students to try on their own is Write. In Write, students see the prompt and have to type the correct response. They are given feedback if they typed out the correct answer. I recommend that students do this practice only after they have practiced the flashcards several times. Adding the typing component really takes the task to a higher level of comprehension and memorization. The spell activity is also popular, but it really only works with very short phrases or single word vocabulary cards, because the student is asked to listen to the target word or words while looking at the definition or image on the back side of the card. It would be asking the impossible for most students, ESL students in particular, to type out a long phrase or complete sentence correctly from memory. But for individual vocabulary words, it's very effective. If the student makes an error, the program highlights it, spells it correctly aloud, displays the correct spelling, and then gives the student another chance to spell it correctly. This is repeated until the student enters the correct spelling. In fact, the next card won't be displayed until the student spells the word correctly. The final flashcard activity in the study category is Test. When a student selects Test, a 4-section online test is automatically created. In the first section, the student types the correct answer. The second section is matching, and the third section is multiple choice. The final section has true-false questions. Students and teachers can also choose to print the test, and the Options button lets you select which question types will appear on the test and which side of the cards get tested. The test questions are randomly selected, so each time the student clicks on Test, their experience will be different. That finishes up the study activities. There are also 3 games using the cards. The first 2 games work well individually or presented to the class. Quizlet Live is a highly competitive teacher-presented team game that works best after students have practiced the content individually. Let's take a look at the match game. Students see both sides of the flashcards at the same time. On a phone, they have to click on the matching pairs. As they make a match, both cards of the match disappear. On a desktop, they have to drag one of the matching cards and drop it on its partner. As students make matches, the pairs disappear. The game is timed. This game is a lot of fun for students individually and as a group activity. When doing it as a group, be prepared for a lot of shouted out help from the students watching from their seats. The last game I will specifically talk about is Quizlet Live. Quizlet Live transforms what was pretty much an individual activity, working with flashcards, into a team competition requiring student teams to select one correct match to a prompt from all of the devices being used by the team. Typically done with smartphones, it can also be done with a mix of desktops or laptops and tablets if the students can group together in such a way as to be able to see each other's screens. Each game starts when a prompt is sent out to every phone or device being used by a team. Every member of the team sees different unique responses. The correct answer is only on one team member's device. The team members have to communicate with each other to decide who has the correct answer and agree to select only one answer. In this image, the city Cairo is the prompt. Students have to select the country. And it's very competitive. Just like arcade racing games, each team's score is projected on the main screen. It's immediately clear to all the teams who is in the lead. What makes the competition a real challenge is one mistake sets the team score back to 0, so I advise teams to never give up. Even a team with a seemingly unsurmountable lead can get booted back to the beginning with one mistake. A game of Quizlet Live really gets students working together and can transform a quiet classroom into an enthusiastic and exuberant learning space. That's especially true if you, as the teacher, urge the students along with a fun play-by-play account of the scoreboard, commending the team in the lead, encouraging the teams who are behind, commiserating with the first-place team that gets sent back to the beginning, and congratulating the ultimate winner. One caveat about Quizlet Live is that it won't work with every set of flashcards, and you need a minimum amount of players to create a game. Because every question of a game has to only have one correct answer, Quizlet Live doesn't work with sets of flashcards that have repeated questions. It won't work with a very small set of cards. You need at least 6 unique questions in a set for Quizlet Live to work. If your card set doesn't meet the basic qualifications, the Quizlet Live button isn't functional. The Quizlet Live game is another part of the website where the upgrade to the teacher version provides a few extra options about the way the games are created. So, now that you've seen some of the activities, you may be wondering how difficult it is to create the sets of cards. Fortunately, it's really quite easy. After creating your account, you have an option of searching for flashcard sets that other people have created, or making your own. Wikipedia states that there are over 200 million sets of flashcards available on Quizlet now, and over 30 million active users. That means that some teacher or individual somewhere in the world has probably already created a flashcard set or flashcards that are pertinent to the subject you're teaching already. It's a simple matter to search for flashcard sets by topic. Let's say you're an ESL teacher who uses the Ventures series. Just type Ventures in the search bar, and you get some 500 flashcard sets with Ventures in the title, many further categorized by level, unit, and even lesson. If you type Ventures 1, you would only get those sets for the first book. Of course, your task as the teacher is to make sure the content, imagery, and vocabulary level of the cards is appropriate for your students. If you do decide you want to make use of a particular set of cards, you can add it to your own list of sets for easy recall. You can also delete or edit cards that you don't think are appropriate for your class. If you decide you want to start from the beginning and create your own set, that's pretty easy also. The Create interface is pretty easy to understand and make use of. You give your set a title. There are also some general options about your flashcard set to determine. You can choose who can see your flashcards and who can edit the set. Moving down to the card work area itself, you see several templates. Each template represents one card. On one side of the template, you enter a term. On the other side, you enter the definition. There are built-in suggestions to assist you. If you start typing WA on the term side of the template, you'll see water, wavelength, and want. And if any of those words fit your card, you can just click on the suggestion, and it's automatically entered as the term. When you do that, a list of previously used definitions appears on the other side of the template, and you can select one of those as well. You can also turn off the automatic suggestion feature. You click on the image icon on the right to insert a picture on your card. When you do that, the program suggests images that relate to the entry you've selected. Of course, you can also upload your own images. You add more card templates as you need them. When you think you're ready, you click on Create, and your set is created. Now you're ready to play all of the study sets or games I've already discussed. The final Quizlet feature I want to cover are diagrams. Diagrams are a new feature being available since 2017. Quizlet lets you create study sets consisting of a diagram to be labeled. 5 of the activities are available with diagrams. For certain topics, it's quite clear that diagrams can be very helpful in learning material or preparing a student for a quiz or exam. So that's Quizlet, a fairly new educational tool that is transforming the way students can study and review material, and teachers can determine fairly quickly and easily how much of introduced material the students understand. Okay, Marjorie, back to you.
All right, thank you, Barry, for all of that great information. OTAN would also like to thank all of you for coming to this Tech Talk. If you have a tool or some tips that you use in an adult education program and that you'd like to share with the adult education field, submit your idea at goo.gl/G12VTO. We also encourage you to subscribe to the OTAN YouTube channel where you can view archived Tech Talks as well as view other OTAN videos. OTAN is a leadership project for adult education in California, and if you are at a WIOA-funded site, you can contact OTAN for additional services, including professional development at your site. Visit the OTAN site at www.otan.us or contact us by phone or email. We hope to see you all at future OTAN Tech Talks.